Well, I'd like to welcome you all to this evening's council meeting. The first item on the agenda is the consent agenda, which is a group of items to be acted upon with a single motion and vote. This agenda is designed to expedite the handling of limited routine matters by City Council. I will ask if a citizen or a council member wishes to have any specific item removed from the consent agenda, and at that time, anybody may step forward and ask that an item be removed prior to the council's vote. The items on tonight's consent agenda include approval of the work session regular meeting minutes of August the 8th, 2017, approval of the expenditure vouchers of August the 22nd, 2017, approval of a renewal brew pub liquor license for J. Fargo's, approval of a renewal medical marijuana center on-site optional premises cultivation for herbal alternatives. So at this time, is there anyone who would like to remove one or more items from the consent agenda? All right. Seeing nobody make a motion, I would like to ask for a motion.
I make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented with the extra expenditure for $42,750.07.
Second.
Keel.
Aye.
Archibald.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
McLaughlin.
Aye.
Carlson.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Sheep.
Aye. We have no presentations. At this time, is there a citizen in the audience that would like to step before council? Nobody's jumping up, so let's move on to public hearings. Mike, ordinance number 1228, series 2017, false reporting. Again.
Our police officers get rather regular times. Well, I'm my brother, I'm my sister, I'm somebody else. And in order, that takes up a lot of an officer's time figuring out who it really is and moving forward. So what we've done is we've added this violation to the municipal code so we can process it in municipal court. I think one of the bigger reasons, as Roy explained the police chief explained last time, is the convenience of everybody. It's convenient for the defendants, it's convenient for law enforcement, it's convenient for the citizens. So that's why we're recommending passage of this ordinance.
Okay. Are there any questions from council?
Guess I gotta
Or
give
comments?
my real name.
You're going to have to early.
I have none.
I
Okay.
don't have any.
At this time, is there anybody that would like to speak for or against? This is second reading, so once the decision is made tonight,
I guess I better clean up my act. I mean, eventually.
all right. Seeing nobody step forward, may I have a motion? There are no other questions or comments from council.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve on final reading ordinance number 1228, series 2017, creating the offense of false reporting.
Second. Archibald.
Aye.
Carlson. Aye. Keel.
Aye.
Lucero.
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
McLaughlin. Aye. Sheep.
Aye. We have no unfinished business, so moving on to new business. I'm assuming that you're Tracy tonight are going to talk about the appointment of the P&Z. Sam.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, Tracy couldn't be here tonight, so she grilled me and asked me if I would take her place, so here I am.
Didn't recognize you at first there.
Back on July 18th, we had a special P&Z meeting to talk about various things, and one of the things was with the resignation of Tim Klein from the P&Z, and we had two worthy applicants, and the P&Z Commission decided to go ahead and let Danny Giannone, the chair, and Kim Bringle vet that and do the interviews, and you all have their recommendation. with Ms. Rachel Medina, I believe. And anyways, so it was unanimous with them, and of course, we follow their recommendation, and our recommendation is to accept that Ms. Medina's application.
And Your Honor, Ms. Medina is here. She's in the.
I
thought you were just a fan of city council.
I kind of figured.
Sunglasses later.
Would you like to say, would you like to step to the podium and say anything, or? Okay. Well, don't thank us yet. Okay. Does anybody on council have any questions?
I have none.
Anyone that wants to grill her while she's out on the? All right, at this point, may I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to appoint Rachel Medina to serve on the Cortez Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second.
Lucero.
Aye.
McLaughlin. Aye. Miller.
Aye.
Carlson. Aye. Keel.
Aye.
Archibald.
Aye.
Sheep.
Aye. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for standing up and offering your services. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We hope you enjoy your time on P&Z. You've got a nice group of people to work with.
Good luck.
Yes, and good luck. All right, we have no draft resolutions or ordinances. We have no other items of business. Is there anybody at this point that would like to step before council? There is no city attorney's report. Is there a city manager's report?
Yeah, just one quick reminder, council, tomorrow we are going to have the meeting with the homeowners on the golf course to discuss access from the east side of the course. So, you know, they're really, getting a public access is still proving to be really challenging. The city doesn't own any property on Golf Course Lane. So really what needs to happen is two of the homeowners need to agree to each give up 10 feet, you know, kind of for this access. Nobody really seems to want this next to their house. They want it, they just don't want to have tons of people coming through, you know, people that leave the Elks at 10 o'clock and drive back home. It's just, I think there's some negatives of having it next to your house. There's another property that's a potential, but it has some high development costs, and so we're hitting some roadblocks. So something that I've been exploring with the pro shop, other staff, and the golf advisory committee, at least. Well, Sam Jarvis, the other day we talked about the concept of private access, which would be allowing these homes to basically develop their own access from their home. And then there'd just be some requirements from the city. Our insurer likes that idea at least as well as a public access. Some of the stipulations would be, for example, like there'd need to be a home on the course. You wouldn't get an access if you just have a lot on it. Really would be for benefit of the homeowners there, not for, you know, if you have a vacant lot, you can't drive around and park there and drive onto the golf course from that side. We would have them sign, you know, just stipulation acknowledging that there's dangers to coming onto the course. We would have a route for them to follow. What else? So they would need to have a registered golf cart. They have to check in the pro shop first. They're just some things that we think would be reasonable for that. So, you know, I'm trying to figure this out without going back to council, back to these folks. But right now, it looks like private access seems to be a better solution. We're going to go to this meeting tomorrow night. I'm going to talk to the homeowners about that. The imperfection of the private access is that you have Golf Course Lane. On the west side, you have the homes that touch the golf course. On the east side of Golf Course Lane, none of those homes are on the golf course, and so they would need to get permission from one of the homes on the west side to use their access in. So it's not perfect. You know, there is kind of that flaw in it, but a lot of the homeowners I've talked to on the east side of the lane said, oh yeah, I'm sure I could get access over, but it's still not perfect, but I think it seems to be better than the public access so far.
Wasn't though part of the issue people coming into their yards to retrieve their property?
No, that's what one homeowner said, that she said that because her house backs up right to the green on number 10. And I could tell you shouldn't put a ball in that lawn, but I did like a week ago, so it happens. Even to people who really aren't good golfers like me. That issue was just, she'd asked to remove a couple of planks to let people walk in, but I think the bigger issue is when they drive their golf carts on the course, how they can get onto the course. And so that's been the issue that we've been discussing. And I talked to one homeowner this weekend, and she said that she's lived there for 15 years. It's always been an issue. It's just something, this isn't just coming up. It's always been an issue. So it's really my goal to one way or another kind of come to some kind of resolution and fix this issue this year.
Now, the city has a fence along that, is that right?
We do.
Well, so if this gets resolved and everybody has private access, then will that fence just come down?
No, I think actually what we would, one of the requirements, thank you, would be to say if they want to take down a section, they would just need to put a gate or something there and would have to keep it closed.
The fence stays then, okay.
That's right, yeah, the fence would stay because there are, again, a lot of empty lots along there that aren't developed. You know, maybe in 15 years, if that whole neighborhood is completely developed along there, maybe at that point we could say, do we still need the fence up? But I think right now the plan would be to let the fence stay.
Okay.
So Shane, everybody from the east side, they all go through one entrance, or they all go through individual entrances?
No, they would all access from their own home. Well, the east side of the course now, if you're talking, it's on the...
To get on the course?
Yeah, to get on the course, so all the homes along the golf course that are actually on the golf course would access from their own private property, if they so chose to develop it. And then anybody on the east side of that street would need to talk to one of their friends and say, hey, could I access through your house? So we talked about, okay, fine, if you help me out with a little gravel and you promise not to drive through this before 8 in the morning or after 8 o'clock at night, I'm fine with you using it. So I think it's just people being neighbors, but the city wouldn't be in that relationship. But I thought about it. I think, I've got 5 neighbors. I think any of them, I would say, okay, you're welcome to use it. I know my neighbors, so I don't know that it's going to be a total roadblock, but it does make it imperfect. So anyway, I just wanted to let council know that it's been an ongoing discussion. We have been working hard to try to solve this. And then another thing that came up, because we've had continued access from the west side of the course. It's been perennial and it's been going on for a long time. But we did discuss some of these things that where we just have people, agree to come in and check into the pro shop, to sign off saying that they realize that it's a danger. Every year we have a golf cart, any private golf cart, people sign this agreement, and it has some of these stipulations in there. It says that one of the 2 owners of the cart has to drive the cart. They agree to check in first. It already has some of these provisions, but we talked at the committee, and I talked to Mike a little bit, that may be a way to just make sure that everybody's kind of falling under the same rules, is to just kind of get some of these provisions in that that private golf cart agreement. Then every year when people renew, they're just kind of signing off and agreeing to follow those same rules. So it would be a little bit different on the east side just because they also have the fence right now, so we need the gate. And depending on where they come in on the east side, their route may be different, whereas on the west side, the route is constant. So not to make it too confusing, but we think that maybe the golf cart license agreement would just be a little bit duplicative of this other agreement, but we may need them both. Have I confused everybody thoroughly enough?
They don't have to report to the pro shop, right?
They do. Yeah.
Will they have to meet some type of requirement on the fences?
I don't do. I think we just said. I think we would want a gate.
Have to be a little reinforced on the side.
No, I think what we discussed is just because everybody has different landscaping and different things going on, and just we would want to have a gate up. We would want to have some kind of closure on it, so it's not just open all the time. But I think that would just be left to the homeowner on whatever they thought they would like to put in there.
But we're not going
On
to
our
have-
fence?
It would be on our heads, so they need permission to access through that. That'd be part of the agreement. But
No,
then
no,
just-
the gate they put up is gonna be attached to the city fence.
Yes.
Right, what I'm saying is for that gate to swing properly, right, to be posted correctly, and not, you can't just.
Right, yeah, it would need to
The gate
be,
on our fence. and
Right,
that's
yeah.
how we're doing it.
yeah, it would need to be,
So there's gonna have to be some type of coordination with the homeowners on something like that, or?
I think we go there, as long as they meet our requirements. If you make it something where the city's involved, what if there's a neighbor dispute and they say, you can't use our fence? And then we have them calling us saying, well, they let us use it and now they won't. I can see that being problematic.
right, well, yeah, we wouldn't, I don't think we'd be involved with any of the east side of the road, how they get through on the west side.
We just have to say that they, as long as their fencing meets the requirements set forth by the city, they're allowed to do this, but that's where our involvement ends.
Not much of a fence.
Okay, I'm sorry, because I didn't, I.
That's not what I'm talking about, I'm talking about.
Yeah, you're just talking about making sure that it was attached to a post,
Sure.
that it's not. So,
Okay,
yeah,
well, I guess-
I think a gate would need to be workmanlike manner and it would need to look good. But we talked about, we don't want to have them uniform or put anything in. But anyway, so we're gonna have this discussion tomorrow night. As you can see, there's still some questions out there, but it seems like that the private access concept is a lot more doable than the public access. And again, with the public access, it really was to provide access to all the homeowners on the street anyway. It wasn't intended to hit any other far-reaching group. It really is intended to address access for this neighborhood. So there are more benefits and even other intangible ones, like if a homeowner has their access on, they're going to police who's driving on that. You're not going to have people driving there all the time. If we have a public access, there's nobody necessarily watching that as well. We could have more likelihood of getting ATVs or motorcycles or other uses coming in through that than they would driving by, right next to a homeowner's house and bringing that equipment on. So anyway, yeah, so we're working through it. Anybody's welcome to come to that tomorrow night, 6 p.m. At the Pro Shop. And just wear, your knickers and Argyle socks. Traditional Scottish fare is what we wear. Thank you.
Just bring a golf club. Okay. City Council Committee reports. Anybody been anywhere?
Yes, Madam Mayor, we had a Park and Rec meeting last Friday at Centennial Park. We didn't go inside, we actually had an outdoor meeting, which was kind of cool. Dean took us over and we saw some of the facilities. We saw the new $200,000 bathroom that was erected. It was pretty nice. It really looks nice, it's a nice bathroom.
The motel.
The Taj commode.
Stainless steel, pretty good stuff.
Great lighting,
Yeah.
great lighting.
We also went to the old tennis courts there at Centennial Park, where they're going to take half of those courts and make them into 6 pickleball courts. And he talked about the construction of the pickleball courts and the fencing. And we also had a young man show up by the name of Rory Walker. I don't know if some of you high school teachers probably remember Rory. He wants to do an Eagle project, finish out his Boy Scouts stuff. And he wants to put a cement pad off of Carpenter Trail. There's a if you walk down the trail, there's a pond there, just a little ways down the trail. And he wants to go in there and kind of clean out the pond a little bit. He wants to put a little cement pad, and it's my understanding they have some old benches that they maybe donate to him, that he'll put it there and he'll bolt it down so nobody walks away with the bench. And it's kind of a cool deal for him.
It's nice.
We also toured the playground area where there's a possibility of getting a partial grant to pay for that playground area, and putting up some equipment that is safer, a surface that is safer for kids, and kind of up-to-date playground area for these young kids.
Is that through the Inspire Coalition?
Yes.
Is that, yeah.
Yes. And lastly, but it was kind of fun, Dean took us through the rules of pickleball. And we had to, actually, Rachel was there, and I think she beat us all in pickleball.
Good.
But that was kind of cool, and the guys are neat.
Good. Well, it's kind of nice to be able to get out and actually see the stuff you're making decisions about. Great. All right. Anybody? Okay. In that case, the workshop this evening, we had a request from Sandra Crow, who's the interim Welcome Center manager, about possibly funding 2 full-time staff positions, just because as time has gone on, a lot of our volunteers are older. Some of them are actually retiring from volunteering at the center, and there's some concern that we may not be able to find volunteers to take those spots. And so there's not going to be a problem with the funding to bring somebody on for the rest of the year, but we'll need to look at some ways that we might be able to fund that in the future. We had an update from Phil Johnson on the median project. Sadly, we didn't get anybody to bid on the medians to get them in place this fall. However, that may wind up being a positive for us, in the sense that it's possible that once we do put it out for bid, that the bids will come in for a little less money, and we'll get them started when the weather's bad and finished up as the weather's getting nicer. So that could wind up being a plus. Colby Early came and visited with us about the recycling program. China is scaling back. They are no longer taking a lot of recycling materials from other nations, and so we're going to have to find some way to be able to find domestic outlets to be able to, a domestic market to be able to take those. The double whammy then is the CDPHE is also coming up with some additional guidelines, and so those 2 things are having an impact on our program. As a result, we're going to be recycling a little different way. Colby's talking about getting some information out to homeowners a little bit ahead of time as to how they're going to have to break down their recycling a little more in order to make it easier for his guys that are picking things up to get them recycled in the proper bins. In addition, they're reaching out to some of the larger institutions to give them the heads up so that they can start making some plans on how they dispose of their or sort their recycling materials. Keenan Ortel came to request that the city perhaps cover the cost of insurance for the fireworks. There are 2 fireworks displays that are done on city property in the park during 4th of July, and for the Bento Bean Invitational. And so just talking about some creative ways that we might be able to do that. Even though our local businesses are really good about providing funding to pay for the fireworks, the insurance is becoming quite costly, and the Fair Board, who kind of oversees that project, doesn't have funds indefinitely to be able to cover that, so we're going to have to come up with another way to take care of that. We had a presentation from Lisa Bloomquist, who came from Homes Fund. It's a community development financial institution that supports families in educating them and helping them make down payments so that they can buy a house. And so she talked with us about all the things that their organization does in our community, and was also here to request some funding support from the city. And last but not least, Noel Cooley came to give us an update on the Youth Works program. These were kids from faith-based organizations that came throughout the summer. Each group was here for a week at a time, came in on a Sunday, left on a Friday. They completed a lot of really wonderful service projects, primarily focusing on individuals who are disabled, elderly, or needy in our community that, for whatever reason, had not been able to do maintenance around their homes or keep up their yards. And so she shared some stories with us and had some really wonderful slides, and the kids did a great job. We're looking forward to hopefully having them next year. Does anybody else have anything for the good of the city? Good, let's go home. Adjourn.